Hello and welcome. So I thought I would recap chapter 1, even though I discussed it a little bit in the last video, the world building video, but I skipped around a bit to go over world building. So I thought we would follow the story of chapter 1 in a linear way, a linear fashion for this video, and go over the story of chapter 1 again. So let's start at the also I was going to try to do more than one chapter in a video, and I just can't. The story is too complex. So we're just going to do one chapter per video. So let's go ahead and start with chapter 1 then. So at the beginning of chapter 1, you, the player, meet Nikki in her spirit world. And she says that together, the two of you will be able to stop the destruction of Mirrorland. I also think this is when she travels back in time, maybe from year 680 to year 0, maybe not, but it kind of seems like it. I'm not sure, because then the Gate of Heart opens and she wakes up at a hospital with amnesia. So amnesia is a common device used for a variety of reasons. It's used to play with time, or it's used to establish an unreliable narrator, or it's also used to easily hide key points in the story until the author is ready to reveal them. In Shining Nikki, it's used to inform the player of the backstory. So between stages 1-1 and 1-6, Nikki slowly regains her memory, and in the process of remembering where she is and what's going on, we, the players, also learn these details. This is all exposition for the benefit of the player, so she doesn't have memory loss for very long because it's only used to inform the reader of the backstory and for world building. So once that's accomplished, she doesn't need to have amnesia anymore. So the storytellers may use her memory loss to hide details of the story and to create tension and mystery in the future, but I'm not sure yet if that will happen. I haven't seen that yet read through chapter 6, and that hasn't happened. It seems like Nikki's memory loss is only used for exposition at the very beginning, but we'll see if it pops up again. It disappears pretty quickly. So, and also while she's in the hospital here in stage 1-1, we get a really interesting bit of backstory on Momo. This is the first time ever that I know of in any of the Nikki games that we learn that Momo is not a cat. Later on there in the story, there are a few more tidbits of information are dropped about Momo not being a cat and coming from a clan of creatures that are like him. We don't have a clear story on where he comes from or what exactly he is yet, but we're starting to learn that he is not a cat, which was very unexpected. I did not see that coming at all. So, but to get back to the story, after she is just discharged from the hospital, the doctor then gives Lowen Nikki's profile. And this is the first time we meet Lowen. He's a mercenary and a former soldier who somehow knows everything about Nikki. He knows that she's special and that she has been handpicked by Leonid to change the fate of the world, but we, the players, have no idea how he knows all this. The story to date has not yet explained that. And I'm saying up to chapter 6. I haven't read chapter 7. I'm trying to recap chapter 6, and then I thought we could go through chapter 7 together. So while Lowen is getting information about her from the doctor, and we won't go into the privacy problems with that, the doctor just hands over her profile without Nikki's permission. So he's there at the hospital. Nikki doesn't realize that he's there getting her information. Nikki is wandering around Flowerland trying to get her bearings in this new world. It's Mirrorland, but it's Mirrorland from 680 years in the past. And this is when we meet major character number 2, Hells. She wanders into a store to ask some questions. Nikki wanders into a store to ask some questions, and it happens to be Hells' store. Hells does not move the story along. He's not in the main plot, at least not in chapters 1 through 6, but he is a major side character. He is the founder of the Apple Federation Apparel Group, and he owns the store where we shop in the game. We see him a lot. And the next few stages are mainly world-building exposition mixed with a game tutorial. I've covered all of this in the previous video. I'll put a link in the description. So let's keep following the thread of the story. So quickly people learn that she's a strong enough stylist to summon Designer's Reflections, so they battle her trying to get Designer's Reflection from her, which I don't understand this. This is here, but I don't see it again. Like you can battle someone and get designer's reflections. I don't understand this, but it is in chapter 1. Anyways, while she is battling with these nefarious bad guys that are trying to get the designer's reflection from her, they kidnap Momo. So then they leave a note saying, you have to come to the tavern. I think it was at 2:00 to come get Momo. So Nikki goes to the tavern to rescue him. However, in the tavern, she finds Lowen has Momo because he has already defeated the bad guys and rescued Momo. Then Lowen drags her into a styling battle to see how special her styling power is. By the way, people are constantly... there is a permission problem. There is a consensual problem in this world. They don't say, oh, would you like to do a styling battle with me? They even use that word drag. They dragged her into a styling battle. But once again, let's just brush over that. So he drags her into a styling power without her permission to see how, to see how special her styling power is. And during the styling battle with her, he sees a sea of stars in her memory that is Leonid's observatory and says, I was right. So I guess he was testing to see if all his information about Nikki was correct. He doesn't ever explain what he was right about. He sees the sea of stars and he says, I was right. However, during the styling battle, Nikki falls into the styling battle with Lowen. Nikki falls into a deep slumber, which Lowen claims is not his fault, that he's not the one that caused her to fall asleep, and that she will have to break out of that unnatural sleep herself. Lowen then leaves her in the hotel next to the tavern. And by the way, this won't be the only time we see someone walking through town with an unconscious person, and it raises no suspicion. This is going to happen again. I just can't, imagine with her slung over his shoulder or something. She's asleep and he checks her into the hotel. Anyways, so he's checked her into the hotel. She's asleep on the bed in this unnatural sleep that she has to break out of herself. Then Lowen says that he has to leave to go take Momo's kidnappers to the police station. And as he leaves, he gives a cryptic warning saying, they're onto you, so be careful. He doesn't explain who they are or what they know or anything. That's all he says. Hey, people know you're here, and he leaves. So then Nikki's still asleep on the bed, and while she's sleeping, she starts to remember more about Leonid. So during the entirety of chapter 1, Nikki has been going in and out of a dream state, remembering more and more about Leonid and the destruction of Mirrorland. It's a little confusing as the player, the reader, as she goes in and out of this dream state and gets more of her memories back about both Leonid and the destruction of Mirrorland. Leonid is the one who discovered the Ocean of Memories, and he created the first designer's reflection. Everyone in Mirrorland knows about Leonid, the legendary designer, and they also know about designer's reflections and that they're powerful. He seems like he can move the universe and fate with the stroke of his pen. However, he says that he just observes fate. Nikki says, no, you're not just an observer, you're a manipulator. You destroyed Mirrorland. It was after the styling battle in stage 1-5, after you finish the styling battle and it goes into more of the story, that we see Nikki remembering watching him destroy Mirrorland. So this is after the styling battle in stage 1-5. His face was covered by his hood. When he raised his pen to the sky, the stars moved according to his strokes. The story of Mirrorland is coming to an end, Leonid says that. He stands in the distance, silver hair blowing in the wind, as he casts down the death sentence for Mirrorland. So this is what Nikki saw. So she said, you're not just an observer, you're a manipulator, you destroyed Mirrorland. But he can, so we're going back to her arguing with Leonid. And he says, is that what you think? He continues to argue with her. And she says, that is what I saw with my own eyes. And then he replies, what you saw may not be the truth. Find the answer within my memory. So as readers, we don't know the truth. We seem to have two reliable witnesses to the fate of Mirrorland, and they disagree with each other. So we'll have to see how this resolves in the future story. We don't know what's going on here. Of course, we're going to believe Nikki. She's saying, I saw you destroy Mirrorland. And then Leonid doesn't seem like a liar, at least not to me. And he's saying, well, it's not always what you think it is. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And so, if you remember where we are in the story, Nikki has fallen asleep during the styling battle with Lowen. She's asleep in the hotel, and she's remembering this while she's asleep. And you're there with her. As a player, your consciousness is there with Nikki while this happens. Well, all of a sudden, Nikki disappears. You're still there with Leonid, but Nikki's gone. So, she disappears from the observatory and the dream state, but you, the player, you don't disappear. And the memory of Leonid continues to speak to you. He explains that she's left and she's already back in the real world, back in the hotel, and you're still here. He explains to you, the player, that Nikki is fated. She is destined to fail. Nothing will change no matter how many times she tries and at what price she pays. That is fate. So, but he says, even though no matter times she tries, she will always fail. Mirrorland will always be destroyed, and she cannot change that fate, for that is fate. This time, she chose you. And she can't change her fate, but you can. You can help her resist her fate. You're the one that can make the difference. You can change her fate. She can change Mirrorland's fate. So also, he said this several times while you're talking to him, I'm not Leonid. I am the memory of Leonid. So you're never talking to Leonid. You're talking to a memory of Leonid. And I believe we're speaking with the memory of him inside the Twinkle Twinkle Designer's reflection. So there's all the different reflections. Like if you've read any about like in chapter 2, we're going to go speak with Ashley inside the Meteoric Feather Designer's reflection mirror. So we're inside the Twinkle Twinkle Designer's reflection mirror speaking with Leonid. And the reason I believe that is because he actually gives Nikki the Twinkle Twinkle design. The ocean and the stars fade and become patterns on Nikki's outfit. Twinkle Twinkle, a design of Leonid. Leave the sea of stars with this. So when she shows up in the hospital, she has this outfit. Now we've learned how she got it. She got it from visiting him in the past at some point, because these are memories. She visited him and he gave her this outfit, which is the Twinkle Twinkle outfit. And then also, while he's talking to you right then, like I said, Nikki's gone. She's gone back to the real world, and you're still there talking to the memory of Leonid. You start to realize that you're in a mirror, that you and Leonid are inside of a mirror. He extends his hand but touches an invisible wall, sending ripples up and down. A silver frame eventually appears around the wall. It is a mirror with Leonid inside. Walk through the mirror and you connect with her spirit. You can connect with her spirit world. So he tells you, the player, to walk through the mirror. He's stuck inside that mirror, which is the Twinkle Twinkle Designer's reflection mirror. He tells you, the player, to walk through the mirror. And when you do, you're on the arc. You walk through it right into another world. Well, that world is the arc. So this is the first time the player has seen the arc. We're towards the end of chapter 1. It's the first time the player has seen the arc. So you look around and you're like, all kinds of incredible buildings float on the quiet ocean, serene gardens, museums, clock towers with floating hands. A white train track, like a chain, connects all of them together. I've gone over the arc in the other video. Like I said, I'll put the link in the description. I also believe that that's a picture of the arc. We see this all the time, don't we? The solo and the team tabs. I'm pretty sure this is the arc. I mean, there's the ocean, there's the train track, there's the clock tower. So this is also the arc. So anyways, you step out of his mirror and you're now on the arc. And you run into Nikki. And Nikki explains that she woke up from the dream in her hotel room And she wanted to know more about the designer's reflections and Leonid, so she returned to the Ark. That's why she's on the Ark. So you guys both reunite here on the Ark. This is the first time that let's see, Erin seems to have returned. I think she also explains, I wanted to know more about designer's reflections and Leonid, so I returned to the Ark. Yeah, and then she says, oh, you haven't been here before. So she starts to explain what the Ark is. It's on top of an ocean of memories. That ocean is a sea of human consciousness that connects different worlds and minds. And the Ark that floats on top of it manages the ocean of memories. And she came to the Ark after Mirrorland was destroyed. And it was through the power of the Ark, she was able to return to the world, to Mirrorland 680 years ago, go back in time 680 years ago. And also it's through the power of the Ark that she was able to connect with you, the player. So, so she explains what the Ark is, because this is the first time you, the player, have been there. And then we also meet the admins of the Ark. It's a brother and a sister. They're the admins of the Ark, and their names are Marina and Eon. Here's Marina, and here's Eon. Nikki, Momo already know them because they've been to the Ark before, and they introduce them to the player. Then Eon tells Nikki that he has found a clue about Leonid in a children's rhyme from Ninir, which is a kingdom in Mirrorland. So Nikki, Momo, and you, the player, return to Mirrorland through the Gate of Heart to go to Ninir and investigate that clue from the children's rhyme. And that concludes chapter 1. So I know it was a very rough start to the story. I mean, absolutely, it was so confusing. I had to read through it several times to get a hang of what was going on. So, but in defense of the story writers, writing a smooth start to a fantasy story set in an alien world with unusual mechanics is always difficult, and it's rarely achieved, writing that smooth start. So, but now that we've got through this bumpy ride of chapter 1 and the world building, and as well on top of that, we had to do game mechanics, there were tutorials. So we've gotten through this bumpy start. We can now kind of settle in and enjoy the characters and enjoy the story and enjoy the fantasy world. And that's where we'll start off in chapter 2. This concludes chapter 1. All right, how many far? Yeah, oh my gosh, 17 minutes. We're definitely stopping. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this and found it useful, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, bye-bye.